funding life cycle of a startup. Let's briefly go through the funding life cycle of a startup. As an early stage startup, you may have friends and family that you can tap into for some initial funding to get you off the ground. So, say you go to your cousin or aunt and you say something like, "Hey, I've got this really neat idea. I think we can make millions. Can you put in $25,000 or $10,000 or $7,500? That's what I did during my first startup. I went to family, members, and friends and brought in a little bit of capital. This is called friends and family round, or seed capital. In addition to friends and family and seed capital from them, you can also sometimes get seed capital from angels. It's also considered an investment if it comes in the form of no income investment from you, i.e. the founder team is not taking any salaries for themselves in exchange for stock. That's founder capital. As a startup founder, you can be an investor yourself. If you say, I make, let's say, $70,000 a year in my current job, but I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to dedicate 2 years towards building my startup. And for this, I'm going to put that $70,000 of compensation into my startup. And I'm going to take nothing out. That's also venture capital. Then come traditional angel investors. Angels are usually people who have been successful before, at some level, with their own startups, and they want to now give back. They'll often put in early money. It may be $10,000 or $25,000 or $50,000, sometimes $100,000. And usually these angel investors come with some knowledge and some connections and support. The word angel is important because angel investors can be more of a godsend. They're different from venture capitalists in terms of how flexible they can be, how much time they're willing to give you, and how much they're willing to be supportive, giving you equity and taking a small angel round. They're willing to be more flexible, and they're willing to give you more time in your business. Now that's different from venture capitalists. A venture capitalist's job is to take other people's money and invest it in risky startups and get the highest possible return back in the principal that was given to them by investors. They're looking to get 10 times, 100 times, 500 times return. The job of a VC is to get that return any way they can. And that's why sometimes people call them vulture capitalists. Because sometimes when a company isn't doing well, a VC can look at the numbers, and if you miss them, they can come back and say, well, we want more of your company. We want anti-dilution. We want to have more control. Or we want to replace you as the CEO. Their job is to make money for their investors and nothing else. The VC's job is to get a return, regardless of what happens to you, the entrepreneur. So it's very important you understand the good and the bad of bringing in a venture capitalist. At mid or expansion stage in your business, as the name suggests, your startup's trying to raise capital to scale up. That could mean money required to enter a new market or grow your customer base through new marketing efforts. The funding here can be through a VC or what's called a private equity firm or PE firm. Like VCs invest in a company for equity. However, PE firms invest in mature firms in return for a higher percentage of equity, as they like to retain more control of your company. Once you get the basic early venture capital, you often have multiple rounds of funding, which will typically be something like a Series A, Series B, preferred round. That's what's required in what we call mezzanine financing, which is typically what you do kind of at the end of all your work, maybe before you're going to do an IPO or you're going to sell your business. Money in the Series B will generally have something called preference over your capital and the Series A capital that people put money in before. It's a funny thing in venture. The people who put money in last get their money out first. Successful companies can typically go through several rounds of funding Different kinds of people invest at different levels. And with this, they bring in different expertise. Now here's a caveat for you. A popular opinion among startups is that I take money from anybody who gives it to me. It's money. I can tell you this, all money is not the same. More than money, it's what you get from people who invest in your company that will make a return on investment for you, that will support you beyond making money.